Welcome to Ask Rabbit ProRevenge, where a mad uncle loses $2,000 but sends a butthole away to prison. I have two stories for you today, so let's jump into it. This first post is titled, My Uncle Took Revenge on Behalf of My Parents. As the title gives this away, this didn't happen to me, but is the story of how my uncle avenged my parents. My parents had me when they were pretty young. They were not teens anymore but had barely left that age bracket. My mom and dad met in college. That was also when they had me. So while my parents were in their courses, I mostly stayed with my grandparents. The whole family lives in the same area, and the college was not that far away. My parents were still young and liked to go out with friends on occasion. When the following happened, I was a few years old. On occasion, they frequented a bar. A drunk guy there groped my mom and did not take no as no. My dad intervened and stopped the guy. And half an hour later, all seemed forgotten. The music was loud, the bar crowded, and then someone in the crowd hit my dad with an empty glass pitcher square in the face. He was bleeding profusely and collapsed. But in the press, semi-darkness, and over the music, no one knew who did it. My dad got taken to the hospital. He had a broken nose and a heavy concussion. He also couldn't see who attacked him, and his memory between the alcohol and being hit in the head was also very fuzzy. Of course, they considered the guy who had harassed my mom, but they didn't know him, nor did they see him anywhere leading up to the moment, let alone have any evidence. So they pressed charges against unknown, but there was virtually nothing anyone could do. But then, a few days later, the piece of crap that had harassed my mom approached her on campus. Turns out he was in the same college as my parents. He made a few veiled comments and left little doubt that it had been him that hit my dad in the face. And the piece of garbage let my mom know that my dad next time should mind his manners. And that little touching thing he had done didn't hurt anyone and wasn't that bad. If he wanted to do it again, he would, and maybe more. And then the piece of crap went on his merry way. My mom was horrified, of course. She went home and told my grandparents, my dad, his parents. But no one could do anything. It was a he said, she said deal after all. And my mom hadn't even gotten the guy's name. My mom cried a lot at that time and didn't know what to do. She was also afraid of going to classes or out alone. I honestly only remember that time very scarcely. I was just a little kid. But I can remember my dad in the hospital and with his broken nose, and my mom crying a lot. My dad, of course, was just as angry and humiliated as my mom. No one knew what to do, and everyone was treading on eggshells around each corner. But that is where my uncle enters the stage. My uncle, my mom's brother, lived on the other side of the country. He was a PI, and he was, of course, the last to hear the full story. But the moment he heard someone had threatened his little sister, he was on his way home. After hearing the full story, my uncle knew it would likely be hard to get the guy on harassment, the assault, or the threats, having no evidence. My uncle had my mom point out the guy from afar on campus. It took a few days to find him. But then my uncle started to stalk that piece of human filth. My uncle took sick days, all his vacation, and invested every second possible to find out everything about the harasser. My uncle even approached the pig in another bar and became drinking buddies with him. Over several weeks, my uncle had uncovered all manners of illicit behavior: possession, consumption, and distribution of drugs, theft, and a few other misdemeanors and small-time stuff. And my uncle could have put him away for that. But my uncle always said when asked about if he sent the butthole to prison, it would be for molesting my mom and hurting my dad. And that is what he did. One night, while out with his new buddy drinking, my uncle made the idiot piss drunk and they landed in my uncle's motel room. He got the harasser to incriminate himself on video, rattling off a list of illegal crap he was up to. My uncle had, of course, pretended to be a crook too. Among the stories the butthole told was a story of how he groped some chick and brained her dude with a pitcher of beer. Now, something needs to be said. In my country, of course, recording someone in secret is illegal, and under some conditions, like if the police does it, it is not a permissible piece of evidence in court. But as a PI, my uncle knew the laws for that exactly. But paradoxically, the situation is different if it is not only on audio, but also video. And my uncle had the butthole on camera confessing. The next day, my uncle turned himself into the police with all his collected evidence, because secretly filming people was still a crime. Though the video could be used as evidence in court, as my uncle was not affiliated with the police or any other governmental agency. When the criminal trial and the civil trial were over, the butthole got 6 years in prison and had to pay damages to my mom and dad. And my uncle got slapped with the equivalent of a $2,000 fine for secretly filming the butthole. Money well spent, he always said. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed the first story. Before we get into the second story, if you guys could please do me a huge favor and smash that like button down below. Make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss any future content. Alright, this next post is titled, Butthole Tailgates Me When I'm Already Speeding. So I set them up for a speed trap. I was driving home from a get-together and was going 65 kilometers per hour in a 60 kilometer per hour zone. Where I'm from, the police almost never pull you over if you're going 10 or less over, but will definitely pull you over for anything over that. All was well until I got closer into my area. It's less city-like and more rural, with the roads alternating between single and double lanes. I'm on a single lane speeding 10 over when a pickup truck in my rear view caught my attention. They were going a tad bit faster when they caught up to me and promptly braked a meter behind me. I was like, okay, I'll speed up to 70 kilometers per hour, no big deal, but they continued to tailgate me. Upon closer inspection, I could see the mug of a very angry woman who had no understanding of personal space. What ensued was a full 5 minutes of them completely obscuring my rearview mirror and how close they were. I was tired and kind of hungover, so I was really not in the mood to be worrying about a potential car accident thanks to her driving. I was going to pull over to let her go around when Waze gave me a heads up that a police officer was reported up ahead. This was when I decided I was going to dole out some karma. I slowly dropped my speed from 70 kilometers an hour to 60, now at the speed limit. This woman was furious. Why she didn't just pass me, I'll never know, but she was literally going slightly over the midline, yelling to herself in her rear view, flashing her full brights in a weird show-offish way to get me to go faster. I did this for another minute before Waze showed the cop was less than a kilometer away. I put on my turn signal, very slowly pulled over, and watched this woman flip me the bird as she whipped past me, disappearing over the hill, now going way faster than 10 kilometers per hour over. I continued on my way, getting up to 70 kilometers an hour when I cleared the hill to see flashing lights ahead. Jackpot. I drove with anticipation until I got close enough to confirm it was my friend from earlier. Not wanting to miss out on hitting her with our new secret greeting, I dropped down to 60 kilometers an hour, peered over, and flashed her the bird back at her. I hope you enjoyed the ticket, Karen. Alright, I hope you enjoyed those 2 stories today. Make sure to check out the other ProRevenge stories on this channel. If you guys could please do me a huge favor, smash that like button down below. Make sure to leave a comment letting me know what you thought of these stories today. And make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss any future content and future stories. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.